Hey, scrappy people. Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with my very first video in my December Daily Prep series that I am calling Accessible December Daily Prep. So a lot of times we get pretty wrapped up in December Daily and how overwhelming it can be. So I'm here for the next 7 days to bring you accessible prep pages that anyone can do. Very few specialized tools are going to be used, just a good old-fashioned trimming and cutting and sticking and plunking. So I'm working on 5 foundation pages today with the Citrus Twist Kits Jingle All the Way collection. And you can see for this first page, I'm working off of that gift box theme on the tag that I made. And I made a divided page for the 6x8 side that looks like a present. And now I'm creating an envelope for this journaling card to go like a pocket, right, to stick the journaling card in. So one thing about my December daily, my October daily, is I love interactive pages. So there's always going to be, or not always, because I am going to try and work in the page protector this time around too, but there's going to be interactive stuff throughout my album, like pockets that you can put journaling in or tags that you can pull out, etc. for my pages. And that is one way to make December Daily not only accessible but interesting as well by adding these fun little touches. So rather than punch holes in this tag, I'm going to use one of these sticky adhesive insert things, I don't remember what they're called, that create holes for you on, like, for you to insert ephemera and that kind of stuff. I like using these for my mini albums because it makes it so that I don't have to punch holes, obviously, in the page. So there's page 1, super easy, accessible. I'm going to add on some ephemera to the outside of that pocket. You can see that the pocket matches the gift wrap on the other side, so that's one way to keep it interesting. But I am going to say that my goal with these foundation pages is to make everything mix and matchable, everything movable, because I don't like being held to a certain layout on a certain day. Sometimes it just doesn't work for me. You'll notice that throughout this whole series I'm not adding numbers. I will add numbers if I decide to when I make the pages themselves. That way I can put them in whatever order I want to. So I liked this from the desk of Santa Claus. I like it as, like, maybe my kids are too old to go see Santa, but maybe we'll see him out and about. Anyway, I decided to pair it with the Jolly Old Saint Nick card, but it was a little bit too clean for me with all that white, so I'm going to take that Jolly Old Saint Nick card and I'm going to add some stamping from the Citrus Twist stamp set too. I'm going to speed this way up. It took me forever because I had to keep changing stamps, but I'm going to do naughty and nice all over the whole card, trying to offset everything so that it's interesting. There we go. Just add a little bit of detail, my own detail, to the card, to the page, just to make everything a little bit more me, a little bit more interesting. And that way I get to play before December Daily, just in case things get crazy like they always do and I don't have time to really play during the month of December. So I love the confetti mix that was included in the Jingle All the Way collection, plus that Jingle All the Way sentiment. So I'm going to create a see-through page using my fuse tool to close it up, and then I'm just going to adhere this Jingle All the Way on the outside. Again, I'm not making pages or spreads that like necessarily match each other. I'm just kind of letting the product dictate what I'm gonna make, which is kind of what I'm doing through this whole series. Looking at the product, playing with it, seeing what interesting things I can do with it, and not really having an end goal page or spread in mind. That way I can move things around and mix and match throughout my album. I'm just gonna put a couple of ephemera pieces, etc. here as placeholders. Of course, I'm not closing the pockets, so I can go ahead and add photos if I want to, or something else later on down the line. So next I'm going to be creating a page with this stories of the holiday season list. It's likely to be one of the front pages in my album, if not the front page. So I want this little flap to open. I'm going to use a cardstock hinge to do that, like I like to do. So I'm just trimming this down, folding it in half. I have like this pre-scored cardstock just because I had an extra cardstock piece that was exactly the right size for hinges in my album. So I just pre-scored it so that I could quickly and easily make hinges. So I'm adhering that to the back of the page, and I adhered the other side in between the pattern paper and that card. So now I have this flap and I need to figure out something interesting to do with it. First, I'm going to take this cool trim from the collection and I'm going to sandwich it in between the card and the paper. Again, I left the edge open so that I could do this. I think this has a really cool detail, especially with that yellow in the background there on the main page. And then I'm going to add something interesting. I think I'm going to take these Vicky Bouton numbers and I'm going to add 2020 to the front of the page. I need somewhere for them to sit though, so I'm going to probably add a doily. I don't know why I'm saying probably. I did add a doily. I am taking the chipboard off of these chipboard pieces. These chipboard pieces are so incredibly thick, which will definitely make it so that I have way more than one album. So I took off a lot of that chipboard because holy crap, they were thick. So I'm just going to take the 20 and the 22 from that set. I have lots and lots of different numbers to pull from throughout the month, so I don't need to worry about using those up. But now it says 2022, and I think I wanted that snowflake, but the snowflake didn't really go with the theme of the page. Like there's those retro stars, so I'm just gonna go with the star instead. The snowflake I think would have looked better, but the star matched better, so it is what it is. So next, yay, so cute. Oh, I love this page. Anyway, next I'm going to also put this one on one of those inserts, those sticky tab inserts, so that I don't have to cut holes in it. I feel like it'll hold up a little bit better too. My December daily albums always get so thick that sometimes punching holes in the actual cardstock doesn't hold up very well over time, so I'm probably going to be taking advantage of quite a few of those sticky tabs. For this page, I just really had the idea of a bow wrapped around this paper stuck in my head, so I decided to just go with it and create sort of a foundation page that really has any purpose. I can do anything with it down the line. Just has this decorative bow on it. So I took my Nuvo glue and I stuck it down so that it would stay in place, and then on this back here I'm using my tape runner. I'm going to fold these flaps up so they wrap around, but I didn't waste any of that ribbon. And then I'm just going to take the whole page and glue it down so that everything is nice and secure. That bow is going to stay secure in between the two pages. Trim it down a little. I just really like the way that that looked. I'm not sure. I'm just going to take some ephemera that I have sitting here and I'm just going to paper clip it to this page rather than stick it down. They're just ideas, right? I can use it, I can not down the line. We'll see. I'm just going to paper clip it and stick it in the page protector. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the scraps that I have from making these pages and I'm going to make some DIY Your Scraps cards. It's going to be a theme throughout these videos. I hate recycling scraps down into my stash. They always just get lost and not used. So anything that I have that's big enough to make a journal card, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Now with these specifically, I only had 2 cards or 2 papers that I could cut into journal card size. I'd used up either whole papers or I just had papers that weren't large enough going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that white paper down there instead of scrap paper, and then I thought I was going to use this vellum, but I'm not going to use this vellum. I'm going to show you how to do something else instead. So here's the first card. It says baby it's cold outside, which I'm going to get a lot of use out of because holy crap, it is cold this year. It's cold and it's cold early. Goodness. So I'm going to take this journal card. This 2 of the things I'm going to be doing with this video specifically. Stitcher's Twist tends to have journal cards that are like very open-ended, very easy to use because they're so simple, but sometimes that's a little too simple for me because you know me, I love layers, I love color, I love lots and lots going on. So I'm going to take 2 of the journaling cards from the actual collection and I'm going to adapt them more into my style. This is the first one. So I took that bow card and I matted it on the scrap paper that I had left over, and it's looking a little wonky to me. So I'm just going to take it, I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to offset it so that it's a little crooked. And that worked a little better for me. A little more visual interest. Lastly, I tried to stamp on that card and you'll see flashes of it, and I did not like it. I had this idea to do stamping, like repeat stamping, you can see it there. It did not come out the way I wanted it to, so instead of wasting it, I'm actually just flipped it over and I'm going to use paper strips that, like I said, I had paper strips left over that were not big enough for a 3x4 card, or like the dimensions weren't right for a 3x4 card. So I'm going to use some of those paper strips and I'm going to make a layered card here with layered paper. I don't love the way that this is looking, so I'm going to go ahead and tear the edges and that will make it more interesting for me. Of course, when I tear this one, I don't have enough room. So, oof, yeah, that's terrible. We're just gonna open up another one or use another one. I didn't have to open anything, and tear that one instead. Then I need one for the bottom, so I'm going to take some scrap paper that has the gifts on it, tear it, trim it, etc. Then I'm going to flip it upside down because I feel like it looked better upside down with that Mary ornament, because the yellow was on top of the yellow and it wasn't working. So I'm just going to put this Mary ornament in the middle and use it as a designer card, add a couple of hearts and call it good. So that's card 3. I need to add in, just for a little bit more visual interest, I'm going to add in this twine that was included in the kit using a stapler and some glue. The glue will hold it straight. The stapler will make sure it stays there. Need to trim it and then move on to the last card. So I had the idea for this last card. I'm going to pull out some cards, or a card from the kit. And this one is very simple. So I'm going to add in some layered bits and pieces that I got sitting here from other ideas, and I'm just going to embellish a little bit. This is a great way to add your own touches to any kits that come pre-made for you. It's a great way to just make it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more fun. So bright lights, I'm going to add in this little washi tape bit, and then I'm going to call it good. And that is all of my, or those are all of my cards. So let's look at the album now, everything together. Again, things can move around, which is the whole point. But this is it. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. I will be back again tomorrow with another video in this series, and I hope to see you then. All right, thank you.